I was clutching the chipped blue mug, its painted stars rough under my fingers, when my phone lit up with a text from Kara at 1:43 a.m. Sarah, check the town's Facebook group. I'm so sorry. My stomach dropped. I opened the app, and there it was, a post from Jen, Kara's cousin, with my name in bold warning avoid, hiring Sarah Ellis for freelance work. She's been slandering our family business out of jealousy. Unstable and untrustworthy. DM for details. My face stared back at me from an old photo one I'd taken at a county fair, grinning like nothing could touch me. Now it was pinned to a digital dartboard. The comments were already piling up. Heard she lied about her experience. Always thought she was shady. Knew she couldn't handle competition. Each one felt like a kick to the ribs. I set the mug down too hard, the clink echoing in my silent apartment. Another chip, maybe. That mug was my mom's last gift, made during her chemo days, when her hands still had strength. Stars don't need to be whole to shine, she'd said. But right then, I felt like a star that had burned out. 6 months ago, I was a freelance copywriter with a solid roster of clients in this small Ohio town. I'd moved back after Mom's death, craving the comfort of familiar faces, Kara, Jen, and Nate, Jen's brother, who'd been my best friend since we were kids, stealing popsicles from the corner store. Nate and I were tight. When I landed a big contract with a local bakery chain, he brought over a bottle of wine, and we toasted with that blue mug, laughing about our scrappy childhoods. To making it, he'd said, his grin wide. But then Nate changed. He started dodging my calls, making snarky digs about my work. Big client like that. Hope you don't choke Sarah. I thought he was just stressed his new marketing agency with Jen was struggling to gain traction. I even sent a few clients their way, thinking we could all grow together. Then the bakery deal imploded. The owner, Linda, called me, her voice ice cold. We're going with someone else. Heard you've been bad-mouthing us. Not professional. I was floored. I hadn't said a thing. When I pushed, Linda admitted Nate had warned her about me saying I was unreliable, jealous. I confronted him that night at his apartment, the mug still warm from his coffee machine. Nate, why'd you tell Linda I trashed her business? You know that's a lie. He leaned back, smirking like I was overreacting. Sarah, relax. You weren't ready for a client that big. I did you a favor, kept you from crashing and burning. A favor, my voice broke. You tanked my career. I trusted you. Trusted me. His laugh was sharp-cutting. You think you're the only one who gets to shine? Jen and I are building something. You're just in the way. I left the mug clutched to my chest, his words ringing in my ears. After that, more clients dropped me. Rumors spread like wildfire. Sarah's a flake. Sarah's bitter. Sarah's trying to sabotage Nate and Jen's success. I stopped going to town events, too ashamed to face the stares. Kara tried to bridge the gap, but Nate and Jen iced her out, accusing her of betraying family. My world shrank to my apartment, my laptop, and that damn mug, its stars mocking my failure. Jen's post was the final straw. It wasn't just gossip now, it was a public lynching. I scrolled through the comments, tears blurring my vision, until I couldn't take it anymore. I called Kara, my voice barely holding together. Why are they doing this? What did I do? I don't know, she said, her voice thick with anger. Nate's been off since their agency took off. Jen's always had his back, but this is vicious. I'm coming over, don't, I said, staring at the mug's chipped rim. I need to handle this. I wanted to call Jen, scream at her, but I knew she'd twist it, make me look crazier. Instead, I typed a reply to her post. My hands shaking, Jen. I've never slandered you or your business. If you have proof, show it. I'm tired of lies. I hit send and braced for the backlash. Within minutes, the comments erupted. Stop whining, Sarah. Jealous much? But a few voices stood out. Where's the evidence, Jen? This feels personal. Jen replied, I've got receipts, but I'm not dragging this out online. People know the truth. Receipts. What receipts? I hadn't done anything. I slammed my laptop shut, my eyes landing on the mug. Mom's voice echoed in my head. Stars don't need to be whole. I wasn't whole, not by a long shot, but I wasn't going to let them break me completely. I didn't know how I'd fight back, or what Nate was hiding up his sleeve. But I knew one thing: the truth was out there, and I was going to find it. What I didn't expect was how it would come crashing down, not just on me, but on everyone. I woke up to a phone buzzing like an angry hornet, notifications piling up from Jen's Facebook post. My head throbbed and the blue mug sat on my nightstand, its chipped stars glinting in the gray morning light. I didn't want to look at the comments, but I couldn't stop myself. Sarah's just bitter. Why can't she let it go? A few people defended me, Jen show proof or drop it, but their voices were drowned out by the mob. I felt like I was sinking, the weight of their words pulling me under. Kara showed up at 8 a.m., banging on my door with a bag of bagels and a glare that could melt steel. "You're not hiding today," she said, shoving past me into the kitchen. I saw the group. They're full of it, and we're not letting them win. I poured coffee into the mug, my hands unsteady. "Kara, I don't even know what I'm fighting for anymore. My clients are gone. My name's trashed. What's the point?" She slammed the bagels down, her eyes fierce. "The point is, you didn't do anything wrong. Nate and Jen are lying, and I'm not watching them bury you. We're digging up proof starting now." I sighed, gripping the mug's handle. "Proof of what? That I didn't badmouth them. I've got nothing except my word, and that's worth less than dirt right now." Kara leaned across the counter, her voice low. "Then we find their dirt. I've been thinking about Nate. He's been weird since you moved back. Remember how his mom used to compare you to, 'Sarah's so smart, why can't you be like her?' I think your bakery deal brought all that back. He's not just jealous, he's trying to erase you." Her words hit like a slap. I hadn't thought about Nate's mom in years, but Kara was right. Growing up, Mrs. Larson was always pitting us against each other. "Sarah got straight A's again, Nate." "What's your excuse? Sarah's going to college, Nate." "Don't you want to make something of yourself?" I'd hated it, not because I wanted the praise, but because I saw how it crushed him. Nate would shrug it off, but his eyes would darken, and he'd go quiet for days. I thought we'd moved past it, but maybe those wounds never healed. Maybe my success was a reminder of every time he felt small. "So what do I do?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "I can't change his childhood." "You don't," Kara said, "but you don't let him rewrite yours either. Start with your old emails. Anything that shows you supported them. And I'm calling my mom. She's got dirt on Nate's agency from her book club." People talk. I spent the morning combing through my inbox, screenshotting emails where I'd recommended Nate and Jen's agency to clients. One was to Linda, praising their innovative approach. It felt like a lifetime ago when I thought we were friends. I saved everything in a folder called Truth, but it didn't ease the knot in my chest. Kara texted me an hour later. "Mom says Jen was asking around last month, trying to see if you'd badmouthed them at networking events. Nobody had anything. She's desperate." That afternoon, I forced myself out of the apartment. I needed air, and I wasn't going to let them cage me in. I tucked the blue mug into my bag, call it superstition, and headed to the coffee shop on Main Street. The place was quiet, just a few locals sipping lattes. I ordered and sat by the window, trying to blend in when I saw Nate across the street. He was shaking hands with a guy in a suit, all smiles, like he hadn't just set my life on fire. I wanted to storm over, demand why he hated me so much, but my legs wouldn't move. He glanced my way, and for a split second, our eyes met. His smile faltered, then hardened, and he turned away. "Sarah?" A voice snapped me out of it. A woman with short red hair and a nervous smile stood by my table. "I'm Mia. I do graphic design around here." I saw the Facebook post. I braced myself. "Yeah, it's been a mess." She glanced around, lowering her voice. "I believe you. Jen pulled the same crap with me last year. I was up for a brewery contract, and she told them I'd botched a project. Complete lie. They got the job instead. I didn't speak up because I had no proof, but seeing what they're doing to you. It's not right." My jaw dropped. "They did this to you too." Mia nodded, her eyes hard. "Nate's the charmer, but Jen's the enforcer. They see anyone doing well as a threat. I've got a voicemail from the brewery manager explaining why they passed on me. It's not much, but I can send it." Please, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. And thank you. She gave me her number and left. I sat there, my coffee cold, feeling a spark of something anger, yes, but also hope. If Mia was telling the truth, I wasn't alone. I texted Kara met someone else they screwed over. Mia, she's got evidence, Kara replied. Hell yeah, keep it coming. That night I joined a Reddit group Kara had mentioned, our freelance nightmares, and posted anonymously, best friend turned rival is spreading lies to ruin my career. Publicly smeared me online. Found another victim. What do? The responses flooded in stories of betrayal advice to document everything, and one user TruthSeeker88 saying, people like that always overplay their hand. Keep pushing, they'll slip. The next day, I got a call from Tom Weaver, who ran the hardware store. Saw the online drama, he said, his voice gruff. Jen came by a few weeks ago asking if you'd badmouthed her agency. I told her you hadn't said a word. Thought you should know she's fishing. I thanked him, my mind racing. Jen was building a case. But why, if their agency was thriving, why target me? Then I remembered Nate's face across the street, that flicker of something fear maybe. He wasn't just trying to win. He was trying to bury me like I was the ghost of every time his mom told him I was better. I was starting to piece it together when my phone pinged with an email from Nate. No subject, just back off, Sarah. I've got proof you're not who you pretend to be. You don't want this to get uglier. My heart stopped. Proof I hadn't done anything. I screenshotted it and sent it to Kara, my hands shaking. She called me instantly. He's bluffing, she said, but her voice wavered. He's scared because you're fighting back. Maybe, I said, staring at the mug. Its stars looked fragile, like they could crumble under the weight of Nate's threat. But what if he's not? Then we'll deal with it, she said. But you don't stop now. I didn't sleep that night, Nate's email looping in my head. The blue mug stayed by my bed, its chips a map of everything I'd lost. Mom, my career, my best friend. But those stars were still there, faint but stubborn. I wasn't sure I could keep fighting, but I knew I couldn't let Nate's shadow swallow me whole. What I didn't know was that his proof was about to light a fuse that would burn us all. Nate's email was like a splinter I couldn't pull out. I've got proof you're not who you pretend to be. It gnawed at me, making me second-guess every word I'd ever said to him. Had I slipped up somewhere, given him something he could twist? The blue mug sat on my desk, its chipped stars catching the lamplight as I worked on Rachel's bookstore project. I was trying to rebuild, but every step felt like walking through quicksand. Kara wouldn't let me quit. She showed up the next evening with pizza and a notebook, her eyes blazing. We're making a plan, she said, tossing the box on my table. Nate's bluffing, but we're not. We've got Mia's voicemail, Tom's story, your emails. It's a start. I traced the mug's rim, my voice low. It's not enough. They've got the town wrapped around their finger. And this proof Nate's talking about? What if it's real? Kara leaned forward, her voice fierce. Then we find it first. But I'm telling you, Sarah, this isn't about you. It's about Nate. I was thinking about when we were kids. His mom wasn't just comparing you two, she was brutal. One time at a school play, she told him, Sarah's the lead because she works hard. You're just lazy. He cried for hours. I think he's been carrying that his whole life. I froze, a memory surfacing. I was 12, standing backstage in a scratchy costume, hearing Mrs. Larson's voice through the curtain. Why can't you be more like Sarah? She's not even my kid, and she's outshining you. Nate had been quiet for weeks after avoiding me. I'd thought he was just moody, but now it clicked. My success wasn't just a threat, it was a wound reopening every time I did something right. But knowing that didn't make his lies hurt less. So he's punishing me for his mom's crap, I asked, my voice shaking. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair, Kara said. But you don't get to fix his damage. You just get to fight back. She was right, but fighting felt impossible. I posted on our freelance nightmares again, updating my story. Found others who've been targeted. Got a threatening email from the ex-friend. Scared he's got something on me. The community rallied. Document everything. Get a lawyer. One user, StarChaser99, wrote, "The truth is a slow burn, but it always catches up. Keep going." I clung to that, but Nate's threat loomed like a storm cloud. Then, 2 days later, Rachel called. "Sarah, the Chamber of Commerce, is hosting a job fair next month. They're looking for a speaker to talk about freelancing in a small town. I recommended you." I laughed bitter. Me, after all this, nobody's gonna listen to the town pariah. "They will," she said, her voice firm. "I told them about your work, how you've been unfairly targeted. They're interested. This could be your chance to set the record straight." I hesitated, the mug heavy in my hands. Speaking at a job fair meant facing the town Nate's town. But it also meant a platform, a chance to tell my side. "I'll think about it," I said, my heart pounding. That afternoon, Mia texted me a file, the voicemail from the brewery manager. His voice was clipped. "Mia, we went with another firm. Heard you missed deadlines on a big project?" "Sorry," she added. "I never missed a deadline." Jen fed them that lie. Sound familiar? I saved it another brick in the wall we were building. Tom Weaver called later, saying Jen had been back at his store asking about me again. "She's nervous," he said. "Kept saying she had proof you were trouble." I told her to get lost. The pieces were coming together, but I was still on edge. Nate's email felt like a ticking bomb. I was about to call Kara when I got a text from an unknown number. "Sarah, it's Ethan. Worked for Nate's agency last year. Can we meet? Got something you need to see." Ethan. I barely remembered him, a tech guy who'd done website work for Nate before quitting. I texted back, "What's this about?" "Nate's proof. It's not what you think. Meet me at the diner on Oak 3 p.m. tomorrow." My pulse raced. This could be a setup, but Ethan's tone felt genuine. I called Kara, reading her the texts. "I'm coming with you," she said. "No way you're going alone." The next day, we sat in a booth at the diner, the blue mug in my bag for luck. Ethan showed up looking frazzled, his glasses smudged. "Thanks for coming," he said, sliding into the seat. I saw the Facebook group. "What Nate and Jen are doing to you, it's what they did to me. I quit when I found out they were faking client reviews. But that's not why I'm here." He pulled out a USB drive, his hands shaky. "Nate asked me to edit a recording last year, said it was you bad-mouthing a client. He wanted me to make it sound worse, splice it, add stuff. I kept a copy of the original unedited version. It's you talking about a project totally professional." Nothing like what he's claiming. I stared at the USB, my mouth dry. "This is his proof." "A fake recording." Ethan nodded. "He's been sitting on it, waiting to use it against you. But the original, it's clean. And there's more. In the unedited file, you can hear Nate in the background telling Jen, 'We'll make her look like the bad guy. Nobody'll question it.'" He didn't know I kept it. Kara's eyes widened. "You're saying Nate admitted to setting her up on tape?" "Yeah," Ethan said, his voice low. "I didn't come forward sooner because I was scared. Nate's got pull in this town, but I can't sit on this anymore." He handed me the USB. I felt like I was holding a grenade. "Why now?" I asked. Ethan looked down, his jaw tight. "Because I know what it's like to have your name dragged through the mud. I should have fought back. I'm not letting him do it to you." We thanked him and he left. Kara was practically bouncing. "This is it, Sarah. We've got him. We play this at the job fair and they're done." But I wasn't so sure. The recording could clear my name, but it would also destroy Nate and Jen. I thought about Nate as a kid, his face falling when his mom praised me. Did I want to be the one to end him? I held the mug's handle, its stars warm against my palm. Mom said stars shine because they burn, but burning Nate felt like losing a part of myself. That night, I listened to the recording, my voice calm and professional, discussing a project. Then, Nate's faint but clear, "We'll spin it. Make her look jealous, unhinged." It's easy. It hurt more than I expected. Hearing the boy I'd grown up with plan my downfall. I posted on Reddit, found proof my ex-friend lied. It's big, but using it means ruining him. "What do I do?" StarChaser99 replied. "The truth isn't yours to carry alone. Let it do its work." I decided to speak at the job fair. Not to destroy Nate, but to tell my story. The USB stayed in my bag next to the mug, a choice I wasn't ready to make. What I didn't know was that Nate was already planning to crash the event armed with his fake recording, and he had no idea the truth was about to turn on him. The job fair was 3 weeks away, but it felt like a lifetime. Nate's threat, "I've got proof you're not who you pretend to be," hung over me like a guillotine. The blue mug was my anchor, always within reach, its chipped stars a reminder of Mom's words. Stars don't need to be whole to shine. But shining felt impossible when I was still picking up the pieces of my reputation. Kara was my rock strategizing like a general. "You're not just speaking at this fair," she said, sprawled on my couch with a notebook full of scribbles. "You're taking back your story. We've got Ethan's recording, Mia's voicemail, your emails. We're building a case." I sipped coffee from the mug, my voice tight. "And if Nate shows up with his fake recording, he's got the town eating out of his hand. One wrong move, and I'm done." "Then we move first?" Kara said, her eyes glinting. "You tell your truth on that stage. If he tries anything, we've got Ethan's original file. It's his word against ours, and we've got proof." I wanted to believe her, but doubt gnawed at me. I kept thinking about Nate as a kid, his face crumpling when his mom compared us. "Sarah's going places, Nate. Why can't you keep up?" I'd hated those moments, not for me, but for him. I could still see him at 10, kicking rocks by the creek, muttering, "She thinks you're perfect." I'd told him he was enough, but maybe he never believed it. Maybe that's why he needed to tear me down, to prove he could outshine me at last. Understanding his pain didn't make his lies easier to swallow, but it made me hesitate. Did I want to destroy him, or just clear my name? Mia was relentless, texting me updates. She'd dug up another email from a brewery client, hinting that Nate had misrepresented her work to steal the contract. "They're sloppy," she wrote. "They think they're untouchable, but they're leaving a trail." Tom Weaver called again, saying Jen had been unhinged at his store, demanding to know if I'd been spreading lies. "She's cracking," he said. "Keep pushing." Rachel was my lifeline at the job fair. She'd convinced the Chamber of Commerce to give me a prime slot speaking about navigating freelancing in a small town. "People are talking," she told me over coffee. "Your Facebook post shook things up. Some folks are questioning Jen's story. This is your shot to show who you really are." I nodded, clutching the mug in my bag. What if nobody listens? What if Nate and Jen show up and make it worse? "Then you stand tall," she said. "You've got more allies than you think." I threw myself into preparing my speechwriting drafts late into the night. I wanted it to be honest, not vengeful about the challenges of freelancing, the sting of rumors, and the strength it takes to keep going. I didn't mention Nate or Jen, but the blue mug was woven into every line. I'd hold it on stage, tell the story of Mom's stars, and let the truth speak for itself. Ethan's USB stayed in my bag, a last resort I hoped I wouldn't need. But Nate wasn't idle. A week before the fair, Jen posted again on the Facebook group this time, with a screenshot of an email I'd sent 2 years ago. "I'm not sure this agency is ready for a project this big. They're new, and feedback's been mixed." Her caption was venomous. "Sarah's been sabotaging us for years. This is just one example. We're done staying quiet." The comments were a gut punch. "Wow, she's two-faced. No wonder they called her out." Even some of my supporters wavered. "Sarah, this doesn't look good." I felt sick. The email was real, but it was about a different agency long gone, and Jen knew it. Nate must have dug it up, twisting it to fit his narrative. This was his proof, a half-truth meant to bury me. I called Kara, my voice trembling. They posted an old email. It's out of context, but people are buying it. "What do I do?" "Post the full thread," she said, her voice steel. "Show it's not about them. And get ready for the fair. This is their last shot, Sarah. They're scared." I replied to Jen's post, attaching the full email chain to prove it was about another firm. "This is from 2019, about a different agency. I've never targeted your business. If you have more, show it." The group lit up, some called Jen out. "This is weak. Where's the real proof?" Mia commented, same playbook they used on me. Lies and half-truths. Tom added, "Jen, you asked me about Sarah. I said she never badmouthed you." "Stop this." Jen went silent, but the damage was done. The fair was my last chance to turn the tide. I posted on our freelance nightmares speaking at a public event soon. Ex-friends spreading fake proof. Found evidence he lied, but using it could ruin him. Scared I'll lose either way. StarChaser99 replied, "The truth doesn't need your permission to come out. It'll find a way." 2 days before the fair, Ethan texted heard Nate's planning to show up. He's got the fake recording ready. Be careful. My stomach dropped. I told Kara, who grinned like a wolf. Good, let him come. We've got the original. If he plays dirty, we play dirtier. The night before the fair, I couldn't sleep. I sat on my bed, the blue mug in my hands, its stars glowing faintly in the dark. I thought about Nate, not the man he'd become, but the boy who'd shared my secrets by the creek. I didn't want to hate him, but I couldn't let him erase me. I packed the mug and the USB ready for whatever came. I'd tell my story, hold my head high, and let the chips fall. What I didn't know was that the truth was about to explode, not just for me, but for everyone in that room. The job fair was packed, the community center, buzzing with vendors, job seekers, and the hum of small-town ambition. I stood backstage clutching the blue mug, its chipped stars warm against my palms. My speech was memorized, but my heart was racing. The USB with Ethan's recording was in my pocket, a weight I hadn't decided to use. I'd rehearsed my talk about freelancing, weaving, and Mom's story of the mug, how stars shine despite their cracks. But I wasn't ready for what was coming. Rachel found me before I went on, her eyes bright. "You've got this, Sarah. Half the room's rooting for you. The other half? Well, they'll see." She squeezed my arm and left. Kara and Mia were in the front row, their faces a mix of pride and nerves. Ethan was there too, his laptop ready in case we needed the original recording. I scanned the crowd, my stomach twisting. No sign of Nate or Jen, but I knew they'd show. They always did. The MC introduced me, and I stepped onto the stage, the mug in one hand, a glass of water in the other. The lights were blinding, but I could feel the crowd's eyes, curious, skeptical, waiting. I set the mug on the podium, its stars catching the spotlight, and started. "Freelancing in a small town is tough," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "You're not just selling your work, you're selling trust. But trust is fragile. It can be broken by rumors, by lies. This mug," I lifted it, my throat tightening. "My mom made it when I was a kid during her chemo. She told me stars don't need to be perfect to shine. I've carried it through every loss, every doubt. It's chipped, but it's still here. So am I." The room was quiet, leaning in. I talked about the grind of freelancing, the joy of building something from nothing, and the pain of having it torn down. I've been called a liar, a saboteur by people I trusted. I'm not here to point fingers. I'm here to say the truth matters, and it's worth fighting for. I was halfway through when the doors at the back swung open. Nate and Jen walked in heads high like they owned the place. My heart skipped, but I kept going, pouring everything into my words. The crowd was with me, nodding, some even smiling. Then Nate raised his hand, his voice cutting through the room. "Sorry to interrupt, Sarah, but I think everyone deserves the full story." He held up a phone, his smile cold. "I've got proof she's been lying about us for years. Let's clear the air." The room murmured, heads turning. Jen stepped forward, her eyes locked on me. "Play it, Nate. Let them hear who she really is." My hands shook, but I stayed still, the mug grounding me. I glanced at Kara, who gave me a nod. Ethan's fingers hovered over his laptop. Nate tapped his phone, and a recording played through the room's speakers. My voice distorted and sharp. I wouldn't trust their agency. They're sloppy, unprofessional. "You're better off with someone else." Gasps rippled through the crowd. People whispered, their eyes darting to me. Jen crossed her arms, triumphant. "That's Sarah bad-mouthing us to a client. She's been doing this for years." I felt the room tilt, but I didn't flinch. "That's not me," I said, my voice clear. "Or it is, but it's been edited. I never said those things about your agency." Nate laughed, sharp and mean. "Nice try, Sarah. The recording doesn't lie." But then Ethan stood, his voice cutting through the tension. "Actually, it does." He walked to the stage, laptop in hand, and plugged it into the sound system. "I worked for Nate. He asked me to fake that recording. Here's the original. The crowd went silent as Ethan played the unedited file. My voice calm and professional. I'm excited about this project. Let me know how I can support it. Then Nate's voice faint but unmistakable. We'll spin it. Make her look jealous, unhinged. It's easy. The room froze. Nate's face drained of color, his phone slipping in his hand. Jen's mouth opened, but no words came. Ethan kept going. I've got emails too. Nate told me to dig up dirt on Sarah, said she was a problem. He did the same to Mia, to me, to anyone who got in his way. Mia stood her voice steady. He's right. I lost a brewery contract because Jen lied about my work. Here's the voicemail. She played it on her phone, the manager's voice echoing. Heard you missed deadlines. Mia? We went with someone else. Mia looked at Jen. I never missed a deadline. You know that. Rachel stepped forward, holding up a contract. Sarah's working for my bookstore. She's professional, talented, and honest. I was warned about her by Jen, but I checked the facts. She's the real deal. Then Tom Weaver stood, his flannel shirt unmistakable. Jen came to my store fishing for dirt on Sarah. I told her Sarah never said a word against them. This is a witch hunt. One by one, others stood, clients I'd worked with, a barista who'd overheard Jen's gossip, even a former intern from Nate's agency, who said they faked reviews to win contracts. I quit because I couldn't stomach it. The crowd was buzzing now, not with anger, but with realization. Nate and Jen stood frozen, their empire crumbling in real time. I picked up the mug, my voice steady. This mug's been with me through everything. It's broken, but it's still beautiful. That's what truth is. It doesn't need to be perfect to shine. I didn't come here to destroy anyone. I came to tell my story. You've heard it. You decide what's real. The room erupted in applause, not just for me, but for everyone who'd spoken. Nate grabbed Jen's arm, pulling her toward the exit, but the crowd's eyes followed them, no longer fooled. They left in silence, the doors swinging shut behind them. Afterward, people crowded around, offering support, apologizing for believing the lies. Rachel hugged me, whispering, "You did it." Kara and Mia were beaming, Ethan quietly packing his laptop. I held the mug, its stars brighter under the stage lights, and felt something shift. I wasn't just surviving, I was free. The next week, the Facebook group lit up with apologies. Jen deleted her posts, and Nate's agency lost clients overnight. I heard he was taking a break from the business, but I didn't care. I was too busy with new contracts, including one from the Chamber of Commerce. Mia and I started a freelance support group meeting weekly at the coffee shop, the Blue Mug, always on the table. One night as I washed the mug, I thought about Nate. Not the man who'd tried to break me, but the boy by the creek carrying his mom's words like a stone. I hoped he'd find peace, but I wasn't his to carry anymore. I set the mug on the counter, its stars catching the moonlight, and smiled. Mom was right, stars don't need to be whole to shine, and neither did I.